All right, we are now recording take two. First, take the phone though off the tripod. So right now we are in the cypress dome or a dome swamp. They're both practically the same thing. Cypress domes and dome swamps are both types of wetlands commonly found in Florida, but they have some differences in their characteristics. A cypress dome is a small circular depression in the ground surrounded by a ring of trees. The depression is typically filled with water for much of the year, and it supports a diverse array of plants and animal life. Cypress domes are important habitats for many bird species and provides important water shortages and filtration functions for their ecosystem. A dome swamp, on the other hand, is a large wetland that is characterized by a dome-shaped surface that rises above the surrounding landscapes. Dome swamps are typically covered with denser layer of peat and support unique to set of plants and animals and species that are adapted to their wet, academic environment. Dome swamps are often surrounded by other types such as marshes, sloughs, where they have provided important water shortages and filtration functions for the surrounding ecosystem. In summary, the main difference between a cypress dome and a dome swamp is that their size of topography. Cypress domes are small circular depressions surrounded by cypress trees, while dome swamps are larger dome-shaped wetlands covered with layers of peat. So I'm going to walk around and explain what a cypress dome, or where exactly is it, while I take you through this area. So here we have a cypress dome, and some dome swamps are wetlands and ecosystems that are typically found in the southern United States, particularly in Florida, where I'm at. In Tampa, Florida, Lake Park off of Del Mar Highway. It's a very popular park and is filled with both dome and swamp cypress lands. However, they can also be found in other areas in the country where the climate and soils conditions are suitable for information. In Florida, cypress domes are commonly found in the central and northern parts of the state, while dome swamps are more prevalent in the southern parts of the state, particularly in the Everglades. Some well-known examples of the wetlands types in Florida include Corkscrew Swamp Sanctuary and Fatachi Starlands Preserve Park, both of which contain an extensive area of cypress dome swamps. A dome swamp. Both cypress domes and swamps are important to habitats for many birds and wildlife species, and they provide essential ecosystems services such as water shortage, infiltration, flood control, and carbon sequestration. However, they are also vulnerable to degeneration from human activities such as development, drainage, and logging, which can have serious consequences for both the wetlands and surrounding environments. The types of soils in domelands or wetlands are both ecosystems that have unique soil characteristics adapted to their environments. Cypress domes are typically found on poorly drained soils that are often saturated with water for much of the year. The soils in cypress domes is usually composed of organic rich muck or peat, which is formed from the accumulation of dead plants matter over time. This type of soil is highly acidic and has low nutrient content, which limits the types of plants that can grow in the area. Dome swamps, on the other hand, are typically covered with layers of peat that have accumulated over thousands of years. The peat layer can be up to several meters thick and is composed of partially decomposed plant material. Period. The soils in dome swamps is also highly acidic, with a pH typically ranging from 3.0 to 5.5, which creates a unique environment that supports specialized sets of plants and animal species. In summary, both cypress domes and dome swamps have soils that are characterized high by levels of organic matter, low nutrient content, and high acidity. These soil characteristics are adapted to wet, acidic environments of those wetland ecosystems and play an important role in supporting the unique plant and animal communities in the areas. There is a particular hydroperiod to a dome or cypress swamp, and the hydroperiod of a cypress dome and dome swamps refers to the length of the time that the wetland remains inundated with water throughout the year. Cypress domes typically have a permanent or semi-permanent water table, which we see that we do not now, which means that they are generally inundated with water for most of the year. The water levels may fluctuate somewhat in response to the rainfall and seasonal changes, but in general remains high enough to support aquatic plants and animal life. Some dome swamps have a permanent or semi-permanent water table that are inundated with water for much of the year, while others have more seasonal hydroperiod and may dry out completely during the dry season. The hydroperiod of a dome swamp depends on the variety of factors, including the rainfall patterns, soil type, and topography. Overall, both cypress domes and dome swamps are wetland ecosystems that are characterized by their unique hydroperiods. These hydroperiods play an important role in shaping the plants, animal communities that are found in these wetlands, and they are an essential component to the broad ecosystem function and provided by these wetland habits. Some quick types of species and plants that we have in these cypress dome or dome swamps would be like a bald cypress, a pond cypress, red maple, dahu holly, a saw palmetto, just some that I wrote down there. A lot of poison ivy actually around here. I took some photos for my logging. We have Spanish moss, swamp bay, swamp toledo, bottom bush. But in overall, that's it. I'm gonna do a quick walk around of the area.